Welcome, everyone, to the first of many educational webinars that QMS is putting on in 2015. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mike Krug. I'm a principal in QMS, and I'll be just kicking off the presentation today. I'm joined by Carl Dunlap, my partner and other principal in QMS, as well as Doug Tenbrock Jr., who will actually be conducting the training and running you through the QIM system today. As you're aware, or you might be aware now, everybody is on mute. We're expecting 140 some people. Looks like we're up to about 100 already in multiple countries across the globe. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. We have a lot of people joining us from a lot of different areas. So everyone is on mute. If for some reason you need to ask a question, please use the chat feature in WebEx, and we'll try to answer your question during the presentation or afterwards. We've allotted an hour and a half because in our experience of doing these, an hour is just too tight, especially if there's some questions. So please take down any questions you might have. Carl, myself, and Doug will answer those questions. You know, it could be anything on QIM as well as anything that you saw today. Okay, so prepare your questions, and probably about 10 after or so, we'll have about 15, 20 minutes for question and answers. So the agenda today is we'll do a little bit about QMS, one obligatory slide for those of you that don't know us. We'll talk about what this educational series is. It's new to QMS, and I'm quite excited about it. We'll talk about a new practice area that we've launched in 2015 and late 2014 around training and special services. We'll talk about the upcoming training calendar or schedule that's available that we'll be doing both on the web as well as at our regional training center. And we'll actually go through the QIM training on how to create and process an issue. So it should be a fun-filled hour and a half today with us. And for those of you that don't know me, I do try to have fun on these. It's kind of difficult because everyone's on mute, so I usually say things to kind of get a rise, and people that know me know that's part of my style. So, but it's tough, so I'll have to imagine you laughing or having a good time. But you know, enjoy your lunch. Enjoy the show, and hopefully you'll find this very rewarding and beneficial. So a little bit about QMS is we're basically just a niche services provider focused on quality and manufacturing. We built the practice basically on quality and expanded into manufacturing since SAP is so integrated. And really our differentiator is our deep subject matter expertise. In fact, today we're talking about QIM. It's not really a new product now. It's been out for a little over a year and a half, 2 years now. We've been involved with it actually for the past 8. Carl and I actually sat on the advisory council of SAP as they started to dream this up and came up with the requirements. So we've got a really good relationship with Germany and a lot of customers in the U.S. as well as abroad. So, but you can see that in the second bullet point. Our laser focus is on quality. Quality is really kind of in everything we do. From the module that we implement, the type of implementations we do, and the type of individuals that we bring to our projects and our experiences with our customers. So we do quite a bit, and we pride ourselves on being very quality oriented. So we really promote SAP solutions. We say we're a niche SAP services provider. We're an SAP partner and SAP services partner. But our goal is really to partner with our customers to create world-class quality systems and really to get them to get as much return on their investment out of their SAP system as much as possible. We like to think that we're creative, that we come up with some neat ideas, leveraging standard tool sets, of course, minimizing development and redefining processes. We're not known just for implementing best practices. We're actually known for developing best practices. So you see our mission at the bottom is to set a new standard of excellence of SAP consulting worldwide. Our reputation is everything to us. And, there's a lot I always like going through this list because of who's attending, because I see a lot of, current, past, and future customers on the list. And welcome to all my friends out there today, and excited to meet the new ones. So that's all we're going to do is talk about QMS, just just a little bit about us. If you need more information, please let us know. So the educational series, when you attend a lot of our Sapphire presentations and stuff, or our best practices things, one of the things you'll hear Carl say a lot is train, 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 test, test, test. It's the 6 most important things on a project. Training is always one of those things we can do more of. I don't care how good of a job we do, we could always have done a better job. Okay, so one of our goals this year is to do a better job of educating our customers on the capabilities of SAP. So we came up with, this idea of an educational series, which is a monthly webinar focusing on quality and manufacturing functionality. It's an hour and a half, and it's really geared towards how do you do something. It isn't always going into all the bells and whistles and the capabilities, maybe of QIM. You'll see some of those today, but at the end of this, we hope that you've seen enough that you can create an issue and or process an issue. Okay, so it's not really sales-oriented, but more so learning-oriented. And it's a challenge, and this is our first one. So we appreciate your feedback after this and how perhaps we can do it better. Obviously, we don't have anybody out in the audience looking over your shoulder, and we know many of you may not own QIM, but the thought process is that you'll be able to see this and have a good understanding of how you would process this. As we get into some of the standard ECC topics like quality notifications, calibrations, FMEA, et cetera, even quality inspections. Those are the things that if you have that installed, you'll be able to go back and try. So they're geared really towards learning, and training, and not so much towards capabilities and sales. So we want to create an environment that you can come to once a month and take something away from it. And we do appreciate your feedback, because that is my goal with this, is for you to be able to take something away. And our schedule is pretty fluid. So if you have topics that are important to you, please send them in, and we'll adjust our schedule accordingly. We're trying to hit the things that most people have an interest in. So that last bullet point, obviously, for me is always important. Don't forget to have fun. So it is Friday. We're trying to do it over lunch hour. We're not interrupting your other meetings, but let's try to have some fun. If you want to take part in these, send me an email. Maybe we can have you, be the student on here, and we'll have a lot of fun with it. So, so hopefully you enjoy yourself today. Part of learning and stuff is continual education, and what better way to do that is to use the collaboration tools that are available to us via the internet. We've actually recently created a QMS YouTube channel, okay, and we'll be storing videos out there. In fact, actually, if you go to this YouTube channel, and the link is there, and obviously you can't click on it, but if you want to write it down, go ahead. If you need it, you send me an email. You can also go to Google and type in QIM, how to create an issue, or QMS, QIM, how to create an issue. You'll find us on YouTube. So we've got two videos out there today, really covering the topics that we're doing today, creating an issue, processing an issue. Our goal is to continue to add content to that channel, not just around QIM, but around standard QM topics and functionality and things that we offer. So these are a place that you can go to. Perhaps we'll store the recording of the session. We can store that out there as well. There's also another presentation I think Carl just got out there on that I did with Tenneco on Tenneco's QIM implementation. It's been out on YouTube for about the past 2 years. It hasn't gone viral yet. My mom's watched it probably 50 times. She thinks it's wonderful. I still can't watch it because I can't watch myself on TV. But you can go see kind of their experiences with it. That's not geared towards training, but more so their lessons learned and the other functionalities that they took part in. So feel free to go out there. So our ability to really offer these educational trainings and stuff, we used to do webinars 2, 3, 4 times a year. Of course, we're always at Sapphire and the other conferences, but we've started a new practice area with a new office in Muskegon, Michigan. And they are enabling us to offer more content like this, to offer more services to our customers, and to be able to do more. So the group is actually led by one of my good friends and longtime QM consultant, Doug Tenbrock. He's had a passion for training for about the past 15 years. And he is leading a group of about 7 people in that office right now. And, they're creating content, they're creating courses, they're setting up our systems to perform the training and stuff, much like they'll be done today. So His son, Doug Tenbrock Jr., will actually be conducting the training today. So we have a very talented team there that's ready to train and do a lot of other different things. Like we call them the Training and Special Services team because they do have that rich subject matter expertise. So, some of the other, services that we offer our customers that they ask for, road mapping, how do we define what we're going to do over the next couple of years to get to world class? Where's our low-hanging fruit? What can we take advantage of? This group performs those services along with Carl and myself. They also perform health checks and project audits, after you're live or during your implementation, seeing how well things are going, ensuring that you're leveraging best practices. We always don't, but challenging why we didn't, why we didn't use dynamic modification for our suppliers. Perhaps your procedure doesn't allow you to, but, we do want to reduce testing, et cetera. So they perform some of those health checks as well as project audits. Health checks really designed after you go live. How are you doing? How many stuck lots do you have, et cetera. So they offer us also remote consulting and remote consulting on demand. So they've been able to fill in when we need to help somebody out for a couple weeks. They've been able to step in and offer those services. But the core of what they do is really these training services. So it's geared towards training, and that's really where their passion is. So we offer a variety of different things. First thing, we offer classroom-based training. Muskegon, Michigan is a lovely place to travel to in the summer. So we're not offering as many in the middle of winter, but we do classroom, style training where, a group of people can come in to our offices, or we can come to your offices, and we can train on a set of topics or whatever's important to you. So I kind of call that old school, right? We're all getting together and stuff, and, we're learning, and, we have people in the room that are helping you get through it and making sure that by the time you walk out of there that you can do it. We also have on-demand training. We find that, it's hard, for any of us to break free for a couple days, a week, et cetera, go somewhere or have somebody in. We're busy. But we still may need some training. We may need some supplemental training. We may have questions on configuration options in quality notifications. They offer a you call it service, If you're looking for just a couple hours, they'll do that. You tell them what you're interested in, they'll get prepared, they'll schedule a time in the WebEx, and they'll walk you through it, and make sure that you understand that. So perhaps you're kind of more of a Friday night person, dinner and a movie, I call it. We have videos that Doug's produced, and we have different bundles that we sell. You can see that it's very small here because there's not much room in here, but we've got basically 7 different bundles with different prices associated with them. There's one that basically covers pretty much everything in QM. That's the Mega Video Bundle, 30 tracks. We do QIM training that's got 7 different tracks, so it's not just creating and processing an issue. It's also getting into PAL, worklist, BRF+, BCD, and you'll learn about those here in just a minute. So you can see the different, different videos that we offer. I do caution you this, don't watch them when you're on the road. They're not always the most exciting, but they are fun. Those are offered, and if you're interested in any of those, just reach out to us. We'll offer you a special pricing from attending today's webinar. So our upcoming schedule, kind of probably what you're most interested in. The webinars that we have planned over the next couple months, again, it could be a changing schedule. The next 2 months are locked, and we're looking at April as far as what we're going to do. But I hope you like this screen, too. I had fun putting together a chalkboard, old school type thing. But in February, we're going to do PI sheets and next steps. What are they? What do they do for you? How do you create them? And this actually may become about a 3 or 4 part series because there's a lot to PI sheets. If you're not familiar with them, the 101 will get you started, and then we'll go through some additional things as we progress through the year. We're also going to hit reporting. Carl says you can't measure it, can't manage it. Let's talk about managing that data. We're measuring it all the time. So what options are available to you in ECC? What options are available to you maybe in BW and BobJ? Some other fun things. So that should be a really neat webinar. April, we're looking at quality information records, controlling the supply chain, and those are really are the webinars. Classroom training, what we have scheduled right now is in March. We have a QIM 3-day session that is scheduled, and in April we have inspection processing. Many people ask us too, how many people do you need for classroom training? We do have a minimum quantity, and we know we have some customers, I see some of them on here that have had frustrations with signing up for training and having it canceled. So like other services, we do have a minimum. Our minimum is 1. So if you're interested in coming to training or having us come train you, we're going to be obligated to do that, and we're not going to cancel the class. So again, if you have any questions on that, reach out. We can talk more about it. So let's just get into the meat of what we're here to do today, and I apologize for taking those few minutes to kind of set things up. But today we're going to talk about QIM. So what is QIM? QIM is Quality Issue Management, okay? And Doug's going to run you through a few slides, and he's going to actually run you through the system. But Quality Issue Management is SAP's new tool, really around all types of issues. It is not necessarily a replacement for quality notifications, but they're very much like quality notifications and non-conformance management. Basically, it's a web-based system that allows you to connect to multiple SAP systems to manage all of your issues in one place, and it offers much more so than quality notifications, a real flexible workflow-driven piece. So it's dynamic workflow through the organization based upon the type of the issues and the criteria that's being met. So really kind of a neat thing. It doesn't necessarily have to replace quality notifications. If you have investment in quality notifications, you can actually manage and process and report your quality notifications out of QIM, as well as then do some additional things in QIM. So I won't take up any more time. I'm really kind of pleased and happy to introduce Doug Tenbrock Jr., one of our best QIM guys that we have, and he'll run you through this today, so enjoy.
Thanks, Mike. Again, my name is Doug Tenbrock Jr. I work for QMS. Had a chance to actually work on multiple QIM projects, and what we wanted to do today is just to give you some information on QIM, as well as actually being able to provide a demo within the system, for our issue creation and also our issue processing, as well. So I'm going to go ahead and walk through these additional slides that we do have. This first one here is just showing the QIM homepage. So once we actually get logged into the system, we'll see that this is going to be, our initial page that we do get logged into. What's nice about this initial homepage is, you'll hear me use the word personalized quite a bit, throughout the demo once we get into it. But what's nice about this first page is, I use the term personalized because I can set and have these different areas. As an example here, the work list and the link, as well as that web chip there, it can be specific to how I would want to see it. So I could have, my work list that shows me the information or the different issues that are out there that I can quickly jump into, from this home page. So there's different options that we do have, and we'll get a chance to look at that, a little bit closer, with a bit more detail. On this issue lifecycle, what's nice about this is, out of QIM, we've got a full lifecycle process that is available within QIM. That it offers, with the the standard functionality that we do have. This initial one, we've got where we can create issues, and there's 3 different ways that we can do that. But the one that they show here is a guided entry, which allows us to go through and see how the process is, for creation. Which is nice about that is, we'll get a chance to see, how that process flows, through the creation process, through that guided creation. Once the issue gets created, we've got where we can process issues, which allows us to trigger some immediate action. So maybe it's some actions that need to be sent out right away that are part of containment, as an example. But they're actions and activities that we can send out to individuals to get the issue processing part of it started. We've also got an action plan, and whenever you see this where it says rule-based processing, we've got some activities that we can send out with the use of BRF Plus, or Business Rules Framework, which is a group of decision tables within QIM that allows us to help drive some certain activities, or also to help determine who should be involved in the issue process or the activity process, because we can have some people assigned to those based off of the rule-based processing that we do have with the use of BRF Plus. Once those actions are sent out, we can receive some workflow that allows us to send some communication out that says, yes, I've got some activities that I need to work on, so I would be aware that I do get something within my inbox that tells me I now need to go and look at what activities I can perform to help complete that issue process. In addition to that, we've got where it's a validate, or another make sure that the issue is completed, which is an effectiveness check. That is part of standard QIM that allows us to do this. So once everything had been completed, and we do have some data within QIM, we can look at the reporting and the analytics out there that we do have with Business Content Viewer, or BCV, if you haven't heard of or had a chance to see what Business Content Viewer actually is. Well, it's the analytics tool that's used here in QIM, which allows us to look at graphs and different charts based off of the work list information that we do pick. Here's an example of what that navigation over there on the left-hand side allows us to do. We've got creation for different issue types, and based off of our creation, we've got 3 different options of creating complaints or issues within QIM. The one that we're going to walk through today, for the demo, is the guided entry. And if you can think about somebody filling out a plane ticket, and that we've got to go through a sequence of steps before we can finally pay for that ticket and complete that transaction. The guided entry works nice because it walks us through 5 different steps, before we would want to go ahead and say, yes, we do want to create this complaint. We've also got an option that allows us to have a quick entry, which is basic information. We want somebody to be able to quickly enter something into the system, but they might not have all the information that they need to either use the guided entry or the advanced entry down here. So that quick information would allow us to quickly get in an issue into QIM with limited information. And last, the advanced screen allows us to be able to look at all of the possible fields, as well as the different tabs that are available, for a more advanced user, or somebody that is more comfortable in having to enter some different issues in more frequently. In addition to that, just wanted to mention that SAP is planning on having an app just similar to quality notifications that allows mobile entry for quality issues being created too as well. Here's a screenshot of the guided issue creation. This is what we're going to be looking at today, but wanted to give you a chance to see you know, the different steps that we do have, you know, within here. The example is, you know, there's different information that gets completed on each one of these, or different information that we'll look at and see how, you know, they all tie together, you know, within the issue process. Elements of QIM, you'll notice at the top here, what this slide is showing that we've got an issue that had been created in the system, and we've got other additional activities that are based off of, you know, our issue up there at the top. But we can also have sub-issues like defects and causes here too as well. So, you know, we can definitely have multiple activities, but, you know, what's nice about this is we can even create activities based off of, you know, our sub-issues, whether it's a defect or a cause, and we'll get a chance to look at, you know, what that looks like, you know, once we get on to the issue processing, you know, within the demo. QIM also provides different categories of activities, one being the question. Questions and activities for QIM can be based off of having a response value. So an example would be, you know, if we had a question there, we could have response values that help us trigger with the use of BRF plus some additional activities. So if we had a yes/no question as an activity and we said yes, we could bring some additional activities based off of, you know, our response values that we had, you know, used within that question for, you know, that category of activity. In addition to this, we've got, you know, a basic activity, which can be, you know, an immediate action that, you know, we're going to have and send some activities out to some individuals, you know, so they can get, you know, the activity process started and try to get, you know, to the root cause of why we're having the issue in the first place. We've also got extended activities. So this is, you know, something just like what we would have in notifications. Under tasks, we would have our short-term and then our long-term activities, or our long-term tasks. And on the QIM side, we call them all activities, which is the same thing as a task. But we also have, you know, the option of having, you know, this activity being a long-term activity too as well. So, you know, if the issue had been completed, we still might have, you know, like a corrective action activity, or, you know, something that needs to, you know, have some follow-up to it. We could have that long-term activity available. The last one is informational. One of the key things that we want to remember with the informational activity is that this could be any type of information, you know, that we would want to have visible on the screen, you know, within our activities, but this does not have a status to it, so we won't actually assign anybody to, you know, this specific activity. It could be used, you know, just as a reminder. Maybe somebody needs to, you know, attach some documentation, or, you know, as a header, we have some containment activities, and at the top we want to make sure that, you know, we section these activities out to have that information, you know, activity available. What's nice about QIM, now that we also have 8D, a standard quality issue type, which allows us to have, you know, these different print previews with the use of these Adobe forms. But within the 8D, we also get, you know, an 8D printout, which provides us all the different steps, you know, within that 8D process. And these print forms, this is a standard form, and it provides all of the information that we would want to have, you know, and have a starting point to, you know, be able to provide, you know, within our internal group, or develop something that might not be as much information going out to a customer, as an example, with some customer information that they're looking forward to as well. But just wanted to make you aware that we do have print forms that are available, some standard Adobe print forms that are a good start to being able to share these with within your business, or if you need to send that out to a customer, for example. QIM also provides a quick side panel, and we'll see side panels throughout the demo. But this also allows us to quickly select a group of information here. This one is showing within the work list that once we pick this group of selected area here, that we can quickly look at some different reports and charts that are coming from what we had picked over here in the work list. So an example of that is showing the issue by status, and has a nice looking graph there that we can quickly look at and be able to use into more detail as needed. Business Content Viewer has some standard dashboards, and this is a good slide just because we've got 4 that we're seeing here, but we can quickly look and have it looking at it through some different criteria. Like one that is shown up here at the top is issued by responsible person, and then to the right of it we've got issue by status. So we can quickly run through this dashboard and look at what's available out there, and we could possibly use it in our own presentation if we would like to put one of these graphs or charts within our own PowerPoint that we want to present to the rest of the business group. For example here would be issues by status, or by issues by material, as an example. This is a nice slide here because it kind of breaks down what the options that we do have within QIM, and why we would actually want to use QIM either with notifications or kind of just putting a side-by-side view of what we get with implementing QIM. Here it's a generic tool for multiple use cases. So we've got some different use cases that we would be able to do here, whether it's a customer complaint, a vendor complaint, or having an 8D available. So there are different processes that we can use within QIM. The next one down is mobile issue creation. And this is, it says planned because they're, still working on allowing, that app to be developed, just like they do have for notifications right now, that we would be able to, create different issues based off of, an app or an iPhone or an iPad. In addition to that, we have, where we have cross-system reference capabilities, for issues and activities. An example of that would be, that we had a customer that had 2 separate instances of ECC, one being in Europe and then one being in North America. So we were able to create and manage multiple instances, but the creation of the issues were out of the QIM application. So we were able to manage both for Europe and North America based out of the QIM application that we do have here. Monitoring and processing issues and activities, within ERP applications. So there is some integration that, as Mike had mentioned before, we can manage, quality notifications as well as FMEA or audit issues that get created in the system out of the one centralized work list inside QIM. Can also look at connecting or integrating non-SAP systems. So there is some option for doing that too as well. So it can handle non-SAP related issues too, if that would fit your business needs. Flexible data model. We've got attachments at all levels. We can attach documents at the issue level or the activity level, and even at some of the defect and cause levels too as well. So pretty much everywhere within QIM we would be able to add attachments if your business sees that as a fit, for attaching those different documents. This is also QIM is role-based as well as web-based application and workflow-driven. So we've got some roles that can be set up, and there's different authorization that we can have. Just as you saw that navigation panel, and I'll show you here, within the demo, we can have and hide some of those within our different roles to make sure that we're only allowing some certain users to have the information that they need to help create or be a part of the process within QIM. Embedded business logic for using DRF Plus. Again, this is business rules framework, and when I walk through the demo, I'll just talk to some of the areas that DRF Plus can be used and show you on the screen how it was used, to bring these different areas in. The last slide here, we've got where we can change the definition or the terminology. So it's a flexible tool within QIM that allows us to change the naming of certain things, whether it's a message or if you'd like to have something named slightly different on the screen. There's some flexible options within QIM that allows us to do so.
So this is a great time, Doug, to get into the demo. So we got the demo slide here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pass we're going to change presenters so that we can get to the QIM application. But one of probably the most basic questions everyone has is, there's a lot of information on here. Can I get a copy of the slide deck? The answer is absolutely. Just feel free to reach out to us, call us, or you can email us at sap@qmsinc.com. So just at our domain.com. So it's sap@qmsinc.com. If you shoot us an email, ask for the presentation, we will send it back to you. So, okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Doug.
One thing that I wanted to show that is nice about QIM is I've got the Google homepage here, but I don't need the SAP GUI to get logged in. So I've got just as listed as a favorite, and once I go into my favorite, I can actually log into QIM without having to be actually within the SAP GUI to do so. So that's one of the nice features about this is I've got a URL link saved as a favorite, and I can quickly get logged in, without having to log into the back-end system, to start working on some different issues and managing different issues out of QIM. Once this home page comes up, again, we'll notice that now that we're in SAP NetWeaver Business Client, this has a home page which allows us to pick and choose and personalize to what we would like to see on the screen. So I've actually, gone in and either took out or added, just some things that I'd like to look at, that are used as personalized to my own home page. So, a nice benefit about that is if I want to see something different and, somebody that is also in my department that sits next to me, they can personalize this page or screen area to have and fit their own needs, based on having some additional information that they would want to, look at coming into QIM for the first time. We've got a navigation panel over here on the left. This can be hidden. If I want to hit this arrow, I can look at this in a much larger view. And if I want to add that back, again, it's just clicking on that arrow to bring it back. So we've got some different navigation areas. All of this section down here can be, changed based on authorization. We've got an inbox area that allows us to, if somebody assigns a person responsible, we would be able to come here to this inbox and see if we have any inbox items that we might need to work through. We've got a work list that tells us, our different quality issues that are out there or our quality activities that we have out there as well. We'll come back to the work list and look at that in more detail once we get to the issue processing part. In addition to that, if we know a issue number, we can, enter it here and, start working on, the issue processing part, right out of, this area. In addition to that, we've got quality activities that allows us to do the same thing if we know the activity ID number. System administration just allows us to do, some configuration from, this area without having to get logged into the back-end system and go through SPRO to do those configuration items. We've also got a reporting section that, allows us to look at different reports based out of, ECC, that we can look at too as well. So I'm just going to pick that home page again, and then you'll notice here at the bottom, we've got our three different options on how we can, create different quality issues. I'm going to go ahead now and pick the guided issue creation. And once this comes up, it's going to give us a list of our different issue types that we do have out there. And I'm going to go ahead and pick the customer complaint. So what's nice about the guided issue, once we get into here, you'll notice that, my name came in as a default here. We can set different defaults, for fields once we, go through here. Based on, if I know for sure that it's going to be me that's reported by every time, I can do a right click here, and it allows me to say, yes, I want to use this as a default value. So once you set this as a default value, and go into creating another one, every time this will bring, that same default value in every time. So on this first page, we're going to describe the issue. What is the issue that we're having? We'll talk to each one of these areas, but right now I'm just going to enter the issue description, which is short text information. So I'm having a problem with my TV. It has a line down the middle. So I have that information in there. I know that Super Bowl is coming up this weekend, and I know that I need to get this information out to, somebody on to create a customer complaint. So this is long text. We can have, additional information if we want down here. And we can, type in as much as we want, You know, if we want to write a short story, we can do that too as well, you know, within, you know, this long text area down here. So we've identified, you know, what our short text description is of the issue. We have long text information here, and now we need to go out and look for, I've got an outbound delivery item that is our main reference object. So what this is doing is saying, well, what are we going to reference, you know, this complaint to? And the main reference object in standard, for a standard customer complaint is an outbound delivery item. So I've got some search help that I can run and look at, search for different criteria based off of delivery item, material, plant, and if it's a batched material, I can look up that too as well. And we have, you know, a delivery date down here if we'd like to do so. I'm just going to run this, you know, with this delivery that I do have and look for, you know, this outbound delivery item.
So, Doug, we have a question here. The question is, you know, since QIM is a separate product, do you have to load all of this data into QIM, or can it reach out to SAP and get the information it needs?
Yes. Okay. Since we've picked that outbound delivery item, you'll notice that we do have, you know, a material information that came back here. This is actually data that is being pulled in from our ECC system with the use of an RFC or a remote function call, which allows us to, you know, go out and search for, you know, that ECC information. On the next screen, we'll get a chance to look at this into more detail because just like you have in quality notifications, we have reference object information that gets pulled in, and it'll be the same here, just looking at it, you know, slightly different because we consider those reference objects and see them all under one section and not actually on fields. So it does, we do have, you know, this setup that we are, you know, pointed to our ECC system, again, you know, through an RFC connection.
There's another question, Doug, too. Is the customer complaint connected to the CRM system? The answer to that is out of the box, no. There is some connection between SAP, ECC, and the quality notification and CRM within SAP, and you could then link it to QIM, but the out-of-the-box integration right now is just to ECC, although it could be built or leveraged much like the standard integration between CRM and ECC is. So go ahead, Doug.
Okay. So once we have our outbound delivery item, you know, this has given us a chance to categorize what type of issue we have, you know, for reporting purposes later. I'm going to go ahead and say that it's a quality issue. You know, my TV screen has a line down the middle, you know, only after a certain amount of days. And I'm going to, I've provided the person with a screenshot or a picture that I'll add here and be able to look at and see, you know, that TV. Once I go ahead and add this, we'll see that I've got a link here that I can select, and this link shows me, you know, within like a URL link here or a web-based link, as well as if I X out of that, I've got a download button here too, which allows me to open it up in that file type, you know, to see this in a much larger view that shows, you know, that I do have an issue there. Now we'll go to the next screen. It's the define reference objects. And based off of our main reference object here, once we get selected on that next page or that next step, you know, we'll see the information that did come over from ECC, you know, that we do have. So based off of that main reference object, I picked an outbound delivery item. You know, standard QIM has where the outbound delivery item comes, or the outbound delivery comes into as well. And underneath the delivery item, we get material and plant information, as well as our customers sold to and shipped to. If I wanted to also select another line item from this outbound delivery item, right now I've got my line item 10. I can highlight that delivery item and go out and look for an outbound delivery item, which is 20, that I would like to add to this too as well. So, we can add multiple line items here if we'd like, based off of, our criteria that we picked up here with having our outbound delivery item. We've got some quantity fields. The reference quantity is going to be based off of, that initial quantity that we did pull in, and then we have a complaint quantity here that can be entered too as well. I'm going to go ahead and pick the next step, which is define urgencies and partners. And on this screen now, we can say, how big of a priority it is. Well, it's immediate. I know that, this person needs to get this TV right away because, the Super Bowl is coming, this weekend. So he needs to get, that out and try to get him a replacement at some point. And I can pick, we've got different criticality if we need to. Over here we've got some time frames, so I can say that we would like the requested start date to be today. Down here you'll notice that we've got business partner information, and some of these are coming in as a standard or from our configuration. So there's an issue submitter, which is me, and that's predefined. And when you see this over to the right, it says rule for this line item. That means that I'm bringing this in based off of some certain criteria with the use of BRF+. So we've got a decision table that allows us to say, for this specific plant, the 1200 plant, we would like to have Carl Dunlap as the quality manager, as well as Earl Hannaford coming in, as the issue driver, based off of, some certain criteria that we do have. If I wanted to add somebody else here, I can click on this partners, and I can pick an interested party and also do a search here to add Mike as somebody that would be interested and want to be notified, that we have, this customer complaint process out there. So these, again, can be based off of our business rules or our business rule framework. We can manually add some additional people if we want to notify them, within our issue process here, as well.
Doug, I am interested because I just noticed that is the TV for my office that I was planning to watch the game on this Sunday. And when I told you to make this real life, I wasn't that serious. Hopefully you can get this issue processed immediately. Thank you.
Okay. So yes, Mike definitely would be, an interested party, because of Sunday, getting here. I'm not going to talk about this too much yet because we're going to get a chance to, see how that works. And it, in most cases, wouldn't be done, that we can use BRF+ from somebody actually creating, this activity or completing the activity, that had been assigned to Tim Wilson here. So, I'll make sure that, we're going to hit this on the issue processing side, once we go ahead and finish the creation of this issue. This review and finish is like a final step, but it allows you to look at everything that you've just entered. So you can scroll down on the right and see all of the information that had been entered. So it's like another check of saying, do you kind of agree with everything, that you've just entered? Are you missing anything? And if you are, then you can go back and, enter that additional information, as needed. Up here, we've got save and a save and set in process. I would always consider that save that for somebody filling out the, this customer complaint and they want to get it into the system, yes, that save would be an option, and most likely it for the most part would be, the save. And then the save and set in process, if we know that we aren't going to be the person that allows us to, set that to in process to say, is it actually going to start, then of course the save would be, what we would want to pick.
Doug, there was a question on the participants and the partners that you were being shown. Are those being pulled from SAP, actual SAP user IDs? I believe the answer, Doug, is that QIM uses business partners, and it's just a kind of a common thing so that you can connect to systems like CRM, SRM, et cetera. But the business partners can be created off of the SAP ECC user IDs, and there's a link back both to the user ID as well as the personnel record if you're using HR. And they can be automatically created. So the answer is pretty much. It is a separate object that the system creates and stores, so it can be used in multiple different systems, and there's that linkage between them. But yes, you can create them right off of the user IDs via program.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. And once we've created this issue now, what we see at the top that we do get, what our issue number had just been created with. We get a brief description of, what we had in there, a short text, as well as, the person who reported it and, the person that's responsible for, the issue itself. What's nice about this, too, is if we need to get in there and create another issue, we have an option of doing it right from here, or if we wanted to change it, we could go right into change or display, based off of, this what would you want to do next selection options here. I'm going to go ahead and just close this down because we're going to play the role of the coordinator or a issue driver, which we've got, a created issue that we do have out there. And I'm going to just slide this over. I'm going in and looking, within the work list. If this up here gets a bit busy, we do have an option to, I'm going to click on this and personalize it again to how I would want to see it. If I like to see that, within a tab strip, this would kind of shrink that section down, but just group it a little bit cleaner. But then, the one thing that you would have to do is go through, using that folder to find out, where you would want to navigate to. I'm going to go ahead and just set that back, for that layout. And then I'm going to hit the apply again, and it's going to just take it back, to how I would like to see things. We also have where I can set up different views, and these views would be considered like setting up the variant within quality notifications, where I can set this up either for myself or we can have this within configuration that we could have, a different view out for, the rest of the business to use too as well. But if I wanted to just be specific, to my user ID or personalized, I can set that view just for something specifically that I would like to, report off of here. I'm going to go ahead and there's a refresh button down here and select that refresh button, which is going to show me the latest issues that had been just created. So on this work list, I've got here where, I see that I do have a quality issue that had been created now, but I've got some change options up here too. And this is something that would help us within that work list to, be more specific. So if I wanted to do it by plant, right now I've got it by issue type, and we can also do it by who had created it. So we've got some different options within here, within the work list, that we can use, to look for that different criteria. I'm going to go ahead now and get into the issue here so we can look at the issue processing side of things. So I'm playing the role as the coordinator or the issue driver And one of the things that we can do in here, you'll notice that I've got some different tabs up here at the top. We can look at, these in two different ways, the way of navigating here. Again, it's personalized. I can select this personalized icon up here. And what is nice about this is we've got, it's called stackable. If I don't like all these tabs at the top, I can hit that unstack button, which allows me to now look at it, and I can use my scroll bar to scroll up and down if, these different sections are opened up here, on the left. It's the same information, just looking at it slightly different, depending on how you want to look at it. So I personally like, the stackable view, so I'm going to go ahead and do a select all here, and then I'm going to hit stackable, and then I want all of this to be all on one line, so I'm going to hit the move up button, and once everything is on that one, I'm going to go ahead and save. I've got a little folder icon over here on the left, which then allows me to get back to, that initial tab that I want to work with. So as a coordinator, I've come in here, I'm going to hit edit, and this allows me to open up, some information. If I need to enter any information, I can do that too as well. But now I want to look at, the different areas, what was the issue, who had been assigned to it, business partner-wise, as well as, what reference objects had been involved, in the complaint process. But what this allows us to do now, and I'm just going to go in here and now play, the role of, helping to get this activity started, even though it is, assigned to Tim. I can hit the edit on here just to give you a chance and look at, these how these activities can be triggered with the use of BRF+. So Tim, as an example, would come in here and say, yes, I've completed this activity, and I've selected that it's a quality issue. And based off of the response value over here on the right, you'll notice that we get a little arrow here, and we've just triggered some additional activities based off of, our response value that we do have. So again, this is BRF+, that we're able to do this, and based off of, a response value, we can get going on, our quality related activities, since we've just determined that, it is a quality issue. Each one of these activities, if I select it, you'll notice that we're going to have a separate area that can have some additional information here at the bottom. So you'll want to, select one of these activities to see this additional information that we do have available for processing activities. One thing that you'll notice is we've got, some tabs up here too, a business partner and an attachments tab. So, based off of each activity, if you want to have, assign or add attachments, you can. We've got some different information that can be filled out here. We've a short text activity description, as well as, somebody that would be able to respond, to what they have as findings or what they have, as information before they go ahead and complete this activity. To the right, we've got, some time frames, expected start and expected end date, and then we can also assign someone to, this specific, activity based off of our drop down. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick Evan, and we'll see that now, we can assign these activities either manually, or we can, use BRF+ to, possibly assign, different activities, based off of different criteria too as well. And then we've got a completed by and completed on date, as well as effectiveness check, down here too. I'm going to go ahead and pick the defects tab, and we can record multiple defects here if we'd like. I'm going to go ahead and just pick a defect code so we can get something on here to look at. But you'll notice down here at the bottom we have additional information that can be used. So the defect area allows us to enter some short text and long text again, as well as have quantity information and code information too as well, and then also some additional date fields. In addition to this, we can have off of our defect, as we saw in the slide earlier in the presentation, that we can have activities off of that defect too as well. We can also have causes, effects, as well as reference objects, business partners, and again attachments at any level. What's nice about this trigger and problem analysis is, out of our standard issue types, if I wanted to say that yes, we want to start the CAPA process or the 8B process out of here, I can select this button. It's telling me to save first. But based off of this button, it will open up a new issue type, an 8D issue type, which can be created right from this defect screen here too as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just close this out. But that's some additional functionality that's available within QIM too as well. We also have a cause code that can be entered here too, as well as just like we had a defect, we can do something here too as well with a having a cause once we have figured out what our true cause for the complaint was. We have some information that we can fill out, as well as some code group information that can be tracked here too as well. So we can also have activities and assign again attachments at pretty much at every level that we do have available in QIM. Effects, we can fill out effects too, just the same way that we did for defects and causes. And we can say that yes, we do have an effect of what our cause was, and fill out some additional information here too as well. There's issue response or issue resolution, which allows us again for another code area to work with. And if we're not going to be using like defects, causes, or effects, we can configure out those tabbed areas to not be used within our process. One thing that I would like to show, which is nice about this, is that we have there's an additional information button here at the right top hand side of our quality issue here. And what this does is it shows another side panel, and based off of this criteria, this is pretty much showing like out of quality notifications, it's a related notifications button. So this first circle is showing us by code, customer, and material. With that combination that we have other related issues that are out there. If I select on this other circle, so we've got multiple circles here based off a customer and material combination, we've got some additional or related issues that we would want to be aware of. And I'll just select this last one here. So there's different criteria, but I can actually go into this one and look at is this a related issue to the certain material that I'm currently trying to create one for, or just want to get a little bit more information to see if this is part of a trend within that material that we do see the same or related issue for. So there's some different combinations and some different criteria that it does look at here. In addition to filling out the information, we've got our print preview, which we can look at. And what this allows us to do is you'll notice that we have a select image. So if we had one or we had multiple picture types here, we could select those and they would actually be added within our print preview here. So once this comes up, we'll notice that yes, it is a lot of information because it's all the information that we've just entered. So as a standard form, we'll see all of that information, that's available within that form. But what's nice about this is it does actually put that picture, that we've just selected into the document itself or the Adobe print form. And that is nice just because if we wanted to add some additional pictures, that gives us the proof that yes, we do have a real issue here, and we have it documented as well.
Doug, we had a question from the group here. Can other multiple business partners fill out the 8D, and can their level of access be varied? In other words, only certain fields can be filled out by specific business partners. I think the answer to that's yes.
Yes, and I would think so because we have different authorization objects, for those roles, and we would be able to, assign those to, certain user, groups that would be able to, be a part of, different parts of the issue processing side.
Yeah, typically we've done that, right, Doug, on the activity level. So an activity would be assigned to a type of business partner, and for everybody else, that activity would be grayed out, and for only the business partner that was associated with it, would they be able to edit it. So there is a lot of hooks and places that we can do things, and that definitely can be met. Go ahead, Doug.
Yes, and to Mike's point real quick is we do also have an authorization group down here, area that we could assign a certain group just to this to be able to edit or maintain this specific activity. So yes, we have done that before. And one other thing that I'd like to show here is that we do have a send email in addition to if we are going to have workflow set up, we also have an option of sending an email even without as we see needed or as we see fit. So again, we could pick this to say yes, we'd like to include that in our print preview, document within our PDF print form. But we can also assign attachments if we have like a PowerPoint or a Word document, and this would be attached with the email, but not actually embedded into the print preview. So this form will take any pictures and add them, but if we have any attachments and they're not picture types, picture file types, it would send this document out along with that PowerPoint presentation within that email. So at the end here, we have an option of saying who else do we want to have involved, and then you would just pick your recipient and go ahead and send that email out. So I'm going to go ahead and just save this, but first set it to in process. And if we, as the coordinator wanted to say, yes, we do have, everything filled out here, then we could go in and say all of our activities are completed and go ahead and complete, this customer complaint count, for the completion process. I'm going to go ahead and close this down because one other thing that I would like to show is that within our work list, we have, once I do a select all, so I'm grabbing, a group of data here, we've got another additional information button here at the top, which allows us to look at, our side panel view, which quickly shows us based off of, what we've selected over here within our work list. We get some different, graphs and some different charts, that we can quickly look at. The one being here, it's issue by status. I'm going to go ahead and close this down because we've got some dashboards that we can look at too. Once this opens up, with a different window, we'll be able to look at, our different dashboard here. I'm going to go back in and do that again because it was just taking a little bit of time. So let me select my.
I think while you're doing that, Doug,
here.
The key with these side panels and these reports, it's all based upon that data set. So if you've set up a work list, by supplier, by customer, by manufacturing plant, these reports are dynamic. Based upon what has been selected is the basis of the outcome of these reports. So, really kind of nice first level analytics type, reporting. You have out of the box, you have the nice work list. You also have the charts and some more visualization that you can do, and can really be changed quite easily by selecting a different data set.
Yes. So just as Mike said, based off of that criteria, we were waiting for it to come back, and it was based off of what we had selected, and I did a select all within that work list. So we've got just some quick analytics that we can look at here, and that this is a standard dashboard based off of responsible person status over here on the right. And then if I scroll down, we get some additional, graphs. What were the different issue types that we have had, by material, as well as, a quick look at, different priority. And then we've got it by issue codes per type, and then also, a different category and type, that we can look at here. So I just wanted to also look at business content viewer, briefly, because, there are some benefits of having this available. If you want to use this like within, your own, reports that go out or your own presentations that go out, we're capable of doing that and grabbing some of this information, that looks nice within, different presentations from time to time. And I just wanted to walk you through today and appreciate the opportunity to have, to walk you through the creation process as well as the issue processing side of things, and to get some additional information out there of what QIM, can offer, for your business needs.
Doug, great job. So let me just summarize just a bit for everybody on the thing. We went through a lot of information real quick. You can create issues, Doug, over the left-hand side, right? You have your issue creation options. Keep asking me control. So you can create issues basically guided, quick, or advanced. There's different issue types, kind of in summary. Customer complaints, vendor complaints, internal problems, CAPA. SAP now offers the 8D, and Feature Pack 3 will be 5 Ys. Our most popular one is the guided. It's like ordering an airline ticket, and you would walk through your various steps, filling in your information. It's very personalizable, meaning you can change the field names. You can call them different things. You can add fields to the screen without really any ABAP. It's pretty simple. You can change the look and the feel and move things around and configure those screens to be more user-friendly to your business, depending on what you want to do. You go through those screens, you save it. You have the work list, which is much like people are familiar with QM. It's like your QA32, your work list of inspection lots, or QM10, work list of notifications. So it's all ALV grid. You can dump that grid at any point in time to Excel. You have the BCV charts that are based upon the actual selection in the data set, which gives you some analytics out of the box and a lot of different reporting, and of course the forms, and also something everybody always asks about, the email. And the email, you can actually email the forms as well as any attachments and stuff. So great job, Doug. We have 8 minutes left for questions. There was one question that's outstanding here. Is the web interface supported on Internet Explorer 8? The answer to that is yes. So it's really actually built on WebDim Pro for ABAP, and It's pretty much browser independent. One of the reasons they haven't come out with a mobile application for this yet is because it is all web-based. And if you're familiar with Fiori, and part of QMS's strategy is simplification of screens and leveraging things like personas and Fiori, they're moving towards it, but it is already very visual and easy to use. So we haven't seen any issues with any browser types. There's a question here too, is there anything that ERP QN can do but QIM cannot? There's good questions in that, there's great questions, and that's actually a great question, Patrick. I think given my experience, the answer for the most part is, yeah, I'm very definitive on that, for the most part is no. QIM is a separate application. It can be installed on top of your ERP instance. It can be installed on a separate server. We call it a side-by-side implementation. Initially, your gut reaction is to say, oh, it's a separate system, it's hard. The truth of the matter is there's really no difference. It's just in the way that you're accessing the data. We have follow-up actions off of the activities that go out and create credit and debit memos, much like we might do off of the quality notifications. I have access pretty much to all the data through reference objects. I just have to configure QIM to do it. So, you know, and the nice and neat thing is if you have multiple instances of SAP, you have a single one-stop shopping place for your activities and issues. So that is a great question. I think the answer to that's no, and stuff that you get. So new question here, what is a percentage ratio comparing what percent the users continue to use SAP QM and also QIM? So the QIM, while it's been out a couple years now, we're seeing a huge interest in QIM, but I will preface it by saying it is an additional product. With an additional product means there's additional licensing fees and costs associated with that. And I've had customers that were heading down this path and decided to leverage what they own in quality notifications. Both are very robust. Both can do a lot of the same things. The differentiators in QIM and you know, given my experience and stuff and why I might choose QIM, assuming the price was affordable, is web-based, connection to multiple systems, and I'd like to see Doug do a training on BRF Plus. That tool and the dynamic workflow, you know, and being able to, you know, things as simple as that we couldn't do in quality notifications, automatically assigning the quality manager from the plant that the problem originated in. BRF Plus, you can do that standard via configuration. You can say when the plant is Indianapolis, it's Mike. When it's, you know, Muskegon, it's Doug. And you can set up those condition tables, you know, and those decision tables to basically do that. Some of the differentiators. So there are companies that continue to use SAP QM and have looked at QIM and said, you know, due to cost, we're going to stick this way. There's other companies that say, you know, this is really a nice fit and it complements my solution. So it's hard to say what percentage. We are doing more QIM projects right now than we're doing quality notifications, but we will continue to support quality notifications just like SAP will. They can be used in conjunction with each other as well, and I have customers doing that too. Trying to look at any root cause correlation functions. So there's actually some the preventative actions, successful marking to be able to do that, Rodrigo. As far as the root cause correlations, that's where some of the side panels can come in and can alert you to things that are the same, you know, same material, same problem, same supplier, customer, etc. So there are those side panels that start to provide a visualization of linking things together. But the reporting and everything else you saw is pretty much what we've seen here today. So, good question. So I would look at the side panels and look at that. Keep in mind, QIM it's still in its infancy. It's on Feature Pack 2, Feature Pack 3 should be out. Hopefully it's in testing right now. Hopefully it'll be out around the Sapphire time. Usually is when they launch those type of things, so May. And they're introducing new functionality with Feature Pack 3. So
yeah, I'll just comment on that briefly, Mike. Feature Pack 3 is under testing right now, and will be released in the second quarter of this year. So You'll hear some more about it, but there's some nice additional features with 8D. For example, doing the 5 whys analysis with 8D, some subscription models, some really good features. So SAP, I guess one of the things that is good to point out here is SAP is continuing to invest in QIM. They've seen the customer interest, and so a large part of new development investment is going into QIM versus quality notifications. They are still taking requests and enhancements requests from customers for the core SAP QM application, but we have seen probably a larger percentage of development dollars going into continuing with the feature packs on QIM. So just wanted to point that out. And additionally, QM has a lot of other features that QIM doesn't have with quality inspection, quality assurance, calibrations, the other topics that we'll cover in other educational series webcasts. So QIM is really focused on the quality improvement part of QM. So the closed loop quality improvement cycle, where you identify a nonconformance, develop your corrective action plans, identify your root cause, et cetera. So it's that piece that there's an overlap between QIM and quality notifications. But the rest of the pieces with QM and procurement for suppliers, QM and manufacturing, in-process testing, final testing, calibrations, audit management, FMEA, that's all still part of your core QM system.
Thanks, Carl. Unfortunately, all good things or great things have to come to an end. So from myself as well as everyone at QMS, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for attending today. Remind you of the upcoming events. We will send out a reminder. And typically, these are scheduled for the last Friday of each month around the noontime lunch hour, Eastern Standard Time. So we're looking next month in February at PI sheets. Come learn about those. We'll be hitting reporting up in March. We'll be doing quality information records in April. Remember, too, if you want to get in-depth in any of these subjects, QIM or other things, we offer those classroom-based trainings. QIM and inspection processing are on the calendar right now, and we have the videos. If you're interested in the videos or the bundles we have, again, sap@qmsinc.com. Mention this webinar. It's 25% off today, so over the next month. So I thank you. I wish everybody a great weekend. Root for your favorite Super Bowl team. Unfortunately, the Colts are no longer there, so everybody have a great one. Thank you very much, and look forward to talking to everyone next month. Have a great weekend.
Thanks. We'll leave this open just a couple minutes in case anybody else wants to put anything in the Q&A. And like Mike said, any other follow-ups, just shoot an email to sap@qmsinc.com, qmsinc.com, and we'll get back to you. Thanks, everyone.